Hello, hello, everybody. Thank you for being here today. I am very excited to jump into today's live coaching event. We're going to be talking all about how to qualify food like a pro. So, this topic came to me, of course, because it's always coming up in conversations with us, with our nutrition, with our eating habits, things like that. But even more so when I was recently doing some wellness seminars for some corporate teams. And, they're new to my work, they're new to my coaching style. And so it was just a good reminder on, why and how these topics are so important, right? They seem kind of natural, maybe, or obvious once we get in the hang of it. But for some of you who are new to our community here, this is a great place to dig into and to learn a lot, and also might just be a good refresher for some of us who have been here longer. So I'm really excited, and I have a presentation to share with you guys along with it. And as we go through this, I would love to hear from you on what questions that you have. I'd also love to just get some feedback on the timing of our live events. I want these to be as at convenient times as much as possible for you all. So please let me know in the comments what times work best for you. So today we're going to be talking about the qualifying food portion. I'm going to go into reading labels next week. So we're going to just go bite-size version here. So that way we can cover everything. And as always, like when we talk about food or some new topic, I want you to really try to keep an open mind, a growth mindset. Obviously, take notes, whatever is new here or is a refresher. It's really helpful to take those notes so that you can remember it. And definitely participate. Like I mentioned, I would love to hear your feedback. Give me your questions. What information would you like to learn more about? That's all really going to help me to serve you better. So today, with qualifying our food, this is kind of just that helping to end the debate about what's healthy, what's not healthy, right? I think it can be overwhelming sometimes to get stuck in that questioning, and we don't really know what to believe, and there's a lot of misconceptions and stereotypes and all of these things that throw us off track, and I'm here to make it as simple as possible for you. And most importantly, I'm here to give you information, tools, and resources so that you take the ownership and you can feel really confident in making these choices on your own, having the freedom, the flexibility, the adaptability to make these decisions, feel really good about it, and know that they're going to support your goals. So the number one thing that I like to start with is you got to get curious about your food again. If maybe you haven't, maybe if you feel like you have it all figured out, you think you know, take a second to challenge yourself, get curious about your food. And some of my favorite questions that I encourage you to ask yourself as you're doing this is, what is your food made out of? What is the content? Where did it come from? What's the origin of the food? And how is it prepared? What types of ingredients? What was the cooking method? These can start to get your brain thinking and on the right track when it comes to understanding and deciding whether or not it is a food that serves your goals. What I also want you to think about when you're thinking about qualifying food is to just get rid of the all or nothing mindset. It's not going to serve you here. It pretty much never serves you, I would say. So let's not do it here either. Because when we have that all or nothing mindset, it's like a yes or a no. You're either perfect or you failed. And that's not how it works, right? We're here because all of us want to achieve not only a healthy lifestyle that gives us results in the mirror, but also one that makes us feel really good from the inside and out. And I believe and I know that you can have both. But in order to do that, we have to be able to see things, see the gray between the black and the white, right? And that is so important because we want to be able to have that flexibility again, right? That life is meant to be enjoyed. While we need some discipline and consistency, there is absolutely room for, some indulgence and richness and fun and play in our healthy lifestyle. And so in order to do that, we need to kind of adopt more of a spectrum mindset, and one that focuses not on calories or morality, but more of energy. And so I want you to think of your quality of food as a reflection of energy. And that goes on a spectrum, right? It's not yes or no, it's like a little less to a lot more. And when you start thinking of it in that way, it becomes more and more clear to you and to your body on what is the best choice. What are the better options that make you feel awesome? And then what are the options that don't make you feel so great? And when you can go and be leading and be led by the feeling that your body gives you, you then strengthen that mind body connection. You then become a more intuitive eater. You trust your own intuition, and you can really own your own experience, right? You're no longer following a diet. You're no longer feeling punished or like you have to follow rules, feeling regimented, right? That doesn't help us for the long term. And so I want to help you to have that freedom back again with food. So the general approach here that we're talking about today is we're sticking to whole and minimally processed foods. That is the foundation of the best quality food, right? That's the short and sweet answer. It's the less processed it is, the less steps it takes to get to your plate, to your mouth, the better quality we're going to be able to have and we can expect from it. And the better quality that we have, the higher energy. The higher energy we get from the food, the better we're going to feel. And then in the long term, that's going to result in us being able to put on more lean muscle mass, right? Which is the most important organ of our body that keeps us young, that keeps us healthy, vibrant, free of disease. It's also going to help us to prevent putting on body fat. It's going to help us to not put on weight, to keep weight off. Super important. And then lastly, giving you that natural, vibrant energy that gives you that spark of life, helps you to enjoy yourself. It's all going to be the foundation when you choose the right foods, right? And so I'm excited to dig into this a little bit more with you today. So just talking about some basics, again, I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet today. When you're thinking about qualifying your food, I want you to think back to those questions about when you're getting curious, where did it come from? What's it made out of? How is it prepared? So when we're talking about protein, right, we know that protein, specifically animal protein, which you know by now, hopefully by now, that is I'm a proponent of animal protein as your main source of protein. There are other places to get protein from plants, right? And that's great too. That's kind of like additional. It's a good complement, but the foundation, I highly recommend getting your protein from animals because it is the most complete source of the amino acids that we need, right? Some we create on our own, some we need outside to eat in order to make sure that we are completely getting everything that we need for those building blocks of protein. And when we're thinking about buying quality protein options, it really does matter the type that we get. So some things that I want you to think about are the animals that you're choosing. What type of diet are they eating? What types of foods do they eat? And what were their living conditions? And I'm not expecting you to like go do a Google search on everything that you're buying, although that would be pretty cool and you would definitely get a lot of good information. You can use labels to inform you quite a bit about this. So different types of keywords, like if it's grass-fed, grass-finished, typically for beef, pasture-raised, typically when it's poultry, chicken, even pork. And then eggs as well, right? Free range is a great keyword to look for. Free range and pasture raised. That speaks to the fact that the animals' living conditions were higher quality. They had space to roam. They had better living conditions. They weren't all stuffed up together, right? And that's going to have an effect on the quality of the nutrition that then we get when we eat those foods. So yes, it's great for the animal. I love animals. We want them to be happy, but more importantly, because when we eat it, it's a reflection of the type of nutrition that we get and the amount of nutrition that we get and the activation of those nutrients and vitamins so that we can really maximize what we get out of that food. Whereas if we eat an animal that had really poor living conditions, maybe it was stuffed up in a cage, didn't have space to roam, was under a lot of stress, was fed a diet that was very high fat, low quality, almost like junk food for animals, right? In order to fatten them up so that their size was bigger, that's going to translate to what we get out of the food. And that's kind of what makes it an issue for some of these lower quality, highly processed meats that we find. And it's not just, hot dogs and things like that that might be obvious. It could even be just a piece of steak or a piece of chicken, right? So do your best to try to shop organic, antibiotic free when it comes to your protein. Again, I mentioned a few other keywords you can look for. Something that is sustainably sourced, if you know exactly where it came from. I know that at Whole Foods, specifically some of the pork items here in Miami, they'll tell you the farm that it came from. Thompson Farms is a big one that they get a lot of their bacon and other pork products from. So that's amazing because you can trust in knowing that you know where that farm is located. And typically the smaller the farm and, the more wholesome their practices, which is great. When it comes to your fish though, and I want to point this out because I know we have some people that love to eat their fish and seafood, you do want to do your best to try to avoid farm raised fish. Okay. Because that's again speaking to the quality. Usually they have really scary conditions that they raise these fish in that is not natural at all. It's like mass produced and you end up getting a really low quality fish. And typically there's added, chemicals that they're eating and it's just not good for us. So see if you can get wild caught whenever possible. There's also a lot of really good frozen options as well if you buy your food that way. One of my favorites is Butcher Box. I know Wild Fork has some good options, and there's another one called Crowd Cow. So check those out as well too for your protein. Produce is very much the same in that we're looking for the living conditions, but of the fruit and veggies, right? Or the starches like potatoes and things like that. So as always, I do highly recommend that you buy organic as much as possible. This is because the produce is sprayed with pesticides in order to keep the insects away. And while that's great that the insects aren't eating the food, it's not so great in that we then get the fruits and veggies and they have a lot of chemicals on them that are cancer causing, they can be inflammatory, and it's not good for our bodies. And so if you are on the fence or maybe you're not ready to go fully organic, I recommend checking out the current Dirty Dozen versus the Clean 15. The Dirty Dozen would be the 12 list of 12 produce items that are just kind of the non-negotiables. You definitely want to buy them organic because they have the highest levels of pesticides versus the Clean 15 are a list of 15 items of produce that, it's optimal if you can get them organic, but you could get away with not getting them organic and you will have less pesticides. So something to think about. And it's kind of nice to go back and forth between the two of them. I didn't list them here just because they're always changing. So you can just do a quick Google search and look for like a .gov website that's trusted, like the FDA, and then you should get an updated list and then go from there. I'll also note too, outside of protein and produce, you can also shop for quality when it comes to your grains and your other pantry items. Again, keeping on the minimal processed whole food side. So if you're thinking about rice and beans and legumes, grains like, quinoa, bulgur, different things like that, those are definitely all whole foods as well. They're minimally processed, oatmeal even. And what I will say here that's not in the presentation is do your best to buy those organic. And next level, if you want to be star pupil, try to get some sprouted grains. That's really going to help you out. Not only is that higher quality nutrition because the nutrients in that grain are now activated when you buy it sprouted, or germinated is another synonym for that, but It's also going to digest way differently in your body. Um, Sometimes, you may not even notice, but eating a lot of grains that have a harsh exterior because they weren't sprouted, they will take longer for our bodies to strip away that outer exterior layer in order for us to active or in order for us to actually get to the innermost nutrients that are like way the heck in there. So sprouting takes that process and does it for us. It strips away that outer layer of phytic acid, is what it's called, so that we can instantly get those nutrients faster, gets into our body, and then we can reap the benefits of it from an energy perspective, from vitamins, nutrients, all that good stuff. So those would be my 3 tips for you guys on how to qualify your food. Keep it super simple. Again, the less that you are buying things out of a package, out of a bag, out of a box, you are going to set yourself up for success, for more energy, for more lean muscle mass, and to keep body fat off. So I hope that was interesting and useful. Please let me know again your questions. We'll come back next week for a follow up. We'll talk about reading labels. And until then, guys, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.